Hello and welcome, my name is Chris from christopherhole.com. Welcome to this video where we're going to be continuing our talk about building and changing habits. Now, in previous videos I've talked about the anatomy of behavior change or changing habits. Then in video 2 we talked about the concept of repetition and deep practice, and video 3 we brought those two concepts into a more practical setting where we were talking more about small changes and putting an action plan together and building steps for those action plans and so on and so forth. In this video we are going to be talking about purpose, and we aren't going to be talking about it from a motivational perspective. I'm not here to hype anything up. I'm here to talk about it in a little bit more of a grounded way, with sort of feet on the ground, very much focused on getting done what we need to get done. Before we get into that, just quickly want to mention my social channels. Please come along, like and follow on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It'd be great to see you there. Great to have any questions from you so I can answer them. That would be lovely. Alternatively, come along to the website, which is christopherhole.com/join. Enter your name and email address. Sign up to the monthly newsletter. It's all themed. So every month there is a theme. We'll be talking about habits, we'll be talking about diet, nutrition, exercise, illness, injury, anything and everything that sort of falls under the umbrella of health and fitness we'll be talking about. So back to today's video, we're talking about purpose. So first of all, what is a purpose? Well, the dictionary defines purpose as the reason for which something is done. So essentially it's, why are you doing it? Why are you wanting to change this habit? This is a great question to ask. It's one where you might need to go a few levels. So you might think, well, okay, level 1, why do I want to achieve this? Well, I want to achieve this because. And then you ask yourself that same question, well, okay, that I want to achieve this because, why do I want to achieve that? And then answer it and go, 5, 6, 7 layers deep on why. Okay, well, why do I want to achieve that? Why do I want to achieve that? Why do I want to achieve that? So on and so forth. What you'll then start to do is bring out the reasons as to why you want to make these changes and develop some new behaviours. The next part is, what are different types of purpose? I've experienced in my career, speaking to many different people, they have different reasons, and that's not just, well, I'm doing this for my family, or I'm doing this to help me earn more money, or I'm helping, to progress my career or whatever. It's not necessarily those types of purpose, but some people, you may have heard the saying about the carrot and the stick. Well, there are certain purposes which are the stick, and there are certain purposes which are the carrot. It's good to have possibly both, but it's also good to certainly have a carrot to chase, more so than a stick to be sort of trying to avoid, if you will. So what all this means is, again, speaking to a lot of people, I would find a lot of people, they would go to a GP or a doctor, and they would be told, if you don't lose, more weight or X amount of weight, you're going to be sort of overweight, you're going to be obese, you're going to be at a higher risk of coronary heart disease, you're going to get yourself diabetes. That's what I would describe as the stick. So it's like, oh crap, I need to change what I'm doing. And generally what happens is they change. They make that change. They can make it within 10 to 12 weeks, 6 months, whatever it needs to be able to get done why they want to get it done. Because what they don't want is, they don't want that illness. That's their reason for which something is done. They don't want to get ill. They don't want to get this certain illness. The other type is what I would describe as an inspiring challenge. So that's the carrot. So it's something that you want to move towards. It's not necessarily something you want to move away from. So the other type of purpose is a career goal. It's an event that you want to take part in. It could be a marathon. It could be a half marathon. It could be, if you're maybe not as fit as other people, it might just be completing a 5K. It might be completing a certain walk that you want to do. For some people, it might even just be everyday life. I want to be able to walk up the stairs without getting out of breath. I want to be able to play with my children. I want to be able to play with my grandchildren, so on and so forth. So those are all sort of the carrots that people need to follow. So there you have different types of purpose. It's a good idea to have both, because what that can do, that can not only give you the carrot and the stick, but it can inspire something greater because you've got both, and it makes it a lot more whole rather than just chasing something or just trying to avoid something, if that makes sense. And the final part of this video is about how a purpose can affect changing habits. So in the last video, we talked about making small changes, and a purpose can make, or not necessarily make you, but it can inspire you to make bigger changes and cope with greater challenges and cope with greater degrees of overwhelm. Because in the last video I was talking about, if you chunk something down small enough, you won't get overwhelmed. But with a big enough purpose, you'll be able to cope with more. So if you want to make bigger changes faster, you need a bigger purpose. Because what happened with one person that I spoke to is, although they were trying to avoid sort of obesity and everything that comes along with obesity, what it did do for them is it gave them a greater purpose to make changes quickly so they could achieve what they wanted to achieve. And that's exactly what they did. They didn't necessarily make a lot of small changes. They made quite big changes, quite drastic changes, but because they had a reason that was big enough to do it, they made that change. And if you don't have a big enough reason, that tends to be why most people need to make those small changes, because the purpose isn't big enough to cope with all of the changes that they want to make. So it's very much sort of thinking about it in those terms. If you want to make big drastic changes, you need a big purpose, you need a big reason why, because it will help you cope with that happening. If you want to make slower progress, then you only need a smaller change. Now, I'm going to recommend that most people doing this will need smaller purposes, smaller chunks, smaller action steps, and it takes longer over time. That's what I recommend for most people. There will be the odd person that you come across, and the odd person that I've described, that will have a big enough purpose, a big enough reason, and they'll just jump straight into it. They'll make all the changes. It will happen in a short space of time, and they'll carry on with life as if it was nothing. Whereas most people aren't able to do that. So it's very much thinking about it in that way. So if you do think you've got a big enough purpose, the real acid test for that purpose will, do you achieve what you say you want to achieve? Because if you haven't, then again, that purpose wasn't quite aligned with what you want it to be. But to sort of regress all the way back and go back to sort of summarizing this video, number one, have a purpose. It's the reason that you get everything done. And the bigger the purpose, the bigger you'll be able to cope with the action steps that you want to take forward. So many thanks for watching. Again, hopefully you've learned something new. You've been able to have a little light bulb moment and understand something in a greater clarity, or whatever it might be, and you're able to make those changes and sort of move forward with your health, with your fitness, or whatever habit that you so wish to move forward with. So many thanks for watching. Again, as we finish, please come along to social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, like and follow, or come along to the website, christopherhall.com/join. Join the newsletter. It'd be great to see and hear from you. So many thanks for watching. My name is Chris from christopherhall.com. I'll speak to you in a future video.